We're almost live, almost there, almost there.
That's okay.
Put this here. Healing. And we are live.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Hello. We certainly are excited today. We are excited once again. Join the All. I am Katrina Curry, your host. My husband and I, Malcolm Curry, started the All, and we focus on marriage and family. And we also bring people in from the community because that's what marriage and family is about. Sometimes it's the nuclear family, but sometimes it's the community as a family. We are very community minded. And so we wanted to bring this exceptional young lady on, and she is none other than Dr. Jada Monet Green. We are certainly excited to bring her on. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Just a moment. Okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, let her introduce herself as well as she can give you some updates from some of the things that we've learned about her through her bio and the things that she's actively doing now. So we welcome Dr. Jada Monet Green to the All. She is certainly an entrepreneur, a business owner, pastor, and certified pastoral counselor. I can relate because I also have a pastoral counseling certification through Liberty University. Um, these are just a few of her roles that she actively holds. So she's just not holding titles, she's actually putting her hand into the community. She is the resident of Pascagoula, Mississippi, the wife of Sergeant Christopher T. Green, United States Army National Guard, and is the mother of 6 children and 4 grandchildren. She doesn't
Yes.
even look like a grandmother. Just, I call us, I'm in the grandmother club, glam mamas. Her
Yes.
favorite quote is dream again. She wants you to dream, to open up your spiritual eyes, to not just go on your senses, because the senses can deceive us. But when we have spiritual eyes and spiritual ears to hear, we know the leading of the Holy Spirit. Dr. Green serves as a mentor, intercessor, and the pastor of the Awakening House of Prayer Mississippi Hub. There is so much more we can share about this young lady. She has a 501c3 organization that heals broken women. She is the CEO of Broken to Heal Women's Center. Um, it's located in 2 states, Mississippi and Alabama. So she's very community minded. So she has such an overcoming testimony, and it's a reason why she's involved in the healing of women. You know, I am a domestic abuse survivor from my first marriage, and I have been going full throttle with healing, and I have beautified the meek, so we identify with one another. So
Yeah.
we just welcome. Enough about me. It's all about Dr. Jada Monet Green that is on the All today. Let her speak from her heart today, and we welcome her. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Amen. Um, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be on. And oh, so much. I just thank God for I am a survivor of domestic violence. Actually, I was declared dead in 1995.
Mm,
I was dead. I was hung, shot, and left for dead the phone in Fairhope, Alabama.
girl.
I was raped.
So I saw
I
your
kept
YouTube, excuse me, I saw your YouTube. We're not just going to rush over that. That's
okay.
powerful. Somebody needs to hear that. That's powerful. I saw a clip of a YouTube video that you produced and you have written. So I didn't know the details of that. Can you say that once again? I'm trying to process that. I am I am trying to process that. And
Mm-hmm.
look at you, beautiful, whole, love the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
ministering
Yeah.
to other people.
Yes.
Let's not skip over that testimony. Slow down for a minute and tell me what you
Okay.
just spoke.
Okay.
It's,
Well, I was 19. I was living in Daphne, Alabama. I was married off at the age of 16 to this gentleman. And against my will, at that time, you had to have an adult at that time. So I was already being molested and raped. And, in some of the communities, we was told not to say. Um, I was raped from the age of 5. By the time I was 9 years old, I already had a menstrual cycle. The doctors told me I wouldn't have children because my body was so torn. Um, I wanted to kill myself so many times as a child because I didn't understand. You're looking at parents to protect you. Um, I had a lot of hatred in me. Um, I was just kind of tired, and so I just my body got numb to it. By the age of 14, I was raped. My family wanted me to abort the baby, but I didn't. My son came out of a rape. Um, I had outside women that came in to help me. They knew the situation, and instead of them just really confronting my parent, they kind of went behind the scene. Hey, if you go through anything, my window will be open. Because I had one particular lady that I love, I still communicate with her. She said, I'm a mother with daughters, and I couldn't imagine my daughters at that age being hurt. She said, I spoke to my husband, and he told me to stay out of it, but I just couldn't sleep. The Lord wouldn't allow me to. And when I go through things, I'll just go through the window. If a man was trying to sleep with me, I would go through the window, and I would lay there. She knew when I came in, hear a little squeak, and she prayed with. She used to pray over me that the Lord release me out of that. I didn't know who I was. And then, when you have, we weren't thinking in our community as a culture of a Black family that we will go through some of these things, but I was one of my sisters and brothers. And by the age of 15, I was married off. The man beat me constantly over and over again. Military at that. We were stationed in Panama City, Florida at that time. I was running away. I ran away, and I wasn't thinking that he was plotting to kill me that night. So when he came back to Daphne, his family was from Fairhope, and I'm trying to remember some other things. He sent his cousin to pick me up, and at that time, I had my other child,
mm-hmm.
and so I didn't feel at ease. And see, I wasn't even saved, and I thank God that kept me because I would have been in hell because I didn't know the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And went to the hotel. But when I walked in the door, I just felt unease, like something was wrong. I just couldn't put my hand on it. I just stood at the door, had my son on he had to be about 2 at the time. And he kept asking me, was I going to leave him? And I said, yes, I don't want this. I don't want to be beaten anymore. I don't want to be married to you because I didn't know anything about marriage. I'm a teenager. And he said, well, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill myself, and I'm going to kill the baby. And I said, no, you're not. And so he pulled the covers back over the bed where he was already pre-plotting to kill me. So he was wrapping his hands around a towel to keep the DNA. And so he had sheets and stuff cut, already cut because his thing was to hang me. And so when he punched me, I ended up dropping my bag. I was really trying to protect my son.
Mm-hmm.
And I was holding on to my son because I really wasn't thinking about him killing me. It was just more protecting my child. And
Right.
so I was trying to get the lamp to hit him. I didn't remember too much that I was hearing the gun go off. I did hear that. I was feeling the burning sensation. He was burning me with cigarettes and the light in my skin. He was torturing me while he was having sex with me. And I really didn't remember the rest because of the way he done me. When they found me, the housekeeper found me the next morning. My son, they said was still, he probably cried himself to sleep to watch his mom. And I'm trying to remember. It was all over the news. He hung me from the ceiling fan. I dropped. That's what kept me from living. But I was dead. I was dead for the gunshot wound. That was shot. He shot me in my stomach, which it came out the left rear end of my buttocks, like close to my hip. He broke my nose, which you can still kind of see the scar. I'm still wearing some of the scars. I still have fragment of the bullet in my umbilical cord. Also, I was pregnant. They found out I was pregnant after I came out of the coma 2 weeks later. The mayor at that time of Fairhope, Alabama, that man stood with me. They were saying, how could you file charges against him? Well, he's married to her. He didn't care. They made sure that he was put away for a long time. And they asked me, what did I see when I was dead? I didn't see anything. I was just walking. When I laid, I didn't know I was dead. I was walking and I heard my sister's voice crying. She was crying on the side of my bed, like, please, Jada, get up, when they found out. My dad wasn't in the picture at the moment, but when he heard about it on the news, he came, which I didn't really know anything. And God had to really heal me from that because as I've grown to be a woman, I was having nightmares. Even when I had sexual relations, I would freak out because of the position that was replaying, but I didn't even remember. So I had to go through a real deep soul healing from that. And so that was just one thing that I had to endure. Being rejected, oppressed, suicidal, wanting a mother figure that I didn't have, even though I had other women that was coming in. I'm pregnant. I have other children. Can't really remember mine, kind of gone because of the swelling in my head. They still didn't think I was going to live because I was so poisoned by the bullet because of the fragments in my system. But God, God. And to push forward, I was going through life trying to find who I was as a woman, still rejected, men attracted to the looks, but I was a broken soul. And so I only did what I knew was trying to find love in the wrong spots. I had outside, God was just so amazing because outside was coming, sending me to school. I had so many mothers, so many father figures, and I'm still a part of their life to this day. It's something that I'm still living. Went to school and got my nursing degree almost had finished, but then I went through another tragedy. Just different things the enemy was sending my way, but God was just so amazing. And I had to learn who I was, and I learned who I was probably about 12 years ago. I was paralyzed. I had a motorcycle accident back in 2010. I was paralyzed. They said I wasn't going to walk again. 2013. I was sitting in church.
God be the glory. God be the glory.
Woman of God, I was sitting in church. I had about 12, 13 leaders always coming to me and said, the Lord said he's going to heal you. I couldn't even walk. I had a body cast on. And so this particular lady, which I'm on her documentary about, she just sat in the church, just as humble. And the Lord told her to come and cut my cast off. And this is me. I said, man, please don't touch me. I'm so tired of all these people coming to me about what God said to show out. But she came back and said, well, I have to obey. Can I have some scissors? And I just was very honest sitting in the church, man, please don't touch me. Don't touch me. I just had 12 surgeries. I'm not being touched, but the fire of
And
God hit.
I want to pause there.
Okay.
I want to let God have his way because he is, but I really want to take our time and minister to people
Yes.
and to bring that point of where you were, um, because, and I'm nothing that I've gone through pales in comparison. You know, I'm not trying to compare, but nothing, I hadn't been through any of that. But I was diagnosed with systemic lupus for 17 years, and that just doesn't go away. And God
Mm-hmm.
healed me last year. I have the receipts, I have the lab work. But you do get those um, prophets. Some people prophesying, some people in their flesh, some people really speaking prophetic words, but it's in God's season. But you do, I understand when you said that there were times you just got tired of people showing out
Mm-hmm.
to make a spectacle of you and to drum up emotion in the church, and it gets tiresome, and
Yes.
you kind of feel raped, no,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you have to not you have to combat a lot of things. You don't want to get bitter. You don't want to get bitter with God. You're like, God, I know you are a healer. I know you can just come in at any moment and change this. And so you have to deal with that and then deal with um, these other things. So I got it, but I wanted to slow that down because
Yes.
somebody that may not have gone through that or a long term sickness, they'll say things like, she didn't have faith. And TD Jakes freed me one day when he said this: the fact that you didn't blow your brains out, you had faith. The fact,
Yes.
some of the same people, if you know anything about lupus, it is excruciating pain.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would say you don't have faith. That's why you're out of, are you sin or you, and let's say all of that was true, but that those same people would whine not about a migraine but a headache,
Mm-hmm. Can't go
and
through
not
it.
throwing off at that, but just let's just be honest. So, but I really one day TD Jakes blessed me. He said the fact that you are in your right mind shows that you have faith. You didn't blow your brains out. The fact that you're still seeking God and believing God for, and he said, don't let people tell you when you have a long-term disease. And I do understand that there are people who are that use it as a crutch. So you know we want to teach balance. However, I wanted to slow that down just for a moment, and you go right ahead,
Mm-hmm.
sister. You go right
Well,
ahead.
that's so true because I was weary.
Mm-hmm.
I was still reading my Bible. I was still praying. My life didn't change towards my relationship with God. I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to keep my mind from that I was battling from what the enemy was coming at. Then I'm knowing God didn't send this person.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of discern the spirit that was coming. And I was just like, Lord, no. What is your purpose for me being in this situation? And they say, we shouldn't question God, but I did. He's my daddy. Dad, why am I going through so much?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that I'm doing? Is it something that you want to teach me? I asked all those questions. Am I reaping something that I
That I
done?
sowed, right. I asked similar questions. Am I reaping something I sowed? Did I have the wrong attitude? Did I, God, why I'm, not that I have a barometer of how to judge, but I mean, why is this happening to me? And I have always found that it is a blessing in the relationship that you have. You
Yes.
you find out things about God, and I
Mm-hmm.
can't question why he he allowed that route. Not that he made that route, but I can say that there's
Yeah.
an intimacy that you receive that's like no other. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
And
ahead.
that's true. No, no, no. I love that because you said the key word. He allowed. He allowed. And we might not understand it.
Mm-hmm.
See, we always want to blame the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the devil did this. We give him too much credit. Well, some things the Lord allowed to happen. Nothing happened without him knowing. And I had to learn that. Okay, Lord, what lesson am I supposed to learn out of this? Am I paving the way for somebody else? Because that's what most of it, because they don't understand. It costing us some things when we say yes to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whew. See, I can be transparent. I'm not so holy than thou, because I be me. I tell the
When
Lord
you've
I'm
been
gonna
through the
be.
hell that you've been through, when you've been through the hell that you've been through, and that you had to hold God's hand,
Woo,
you're right. You're gonna be transparent.
woo,
You're right.
Jesus.
You're not gonna be bothered by the
Oh
naysayers.
no, they gonna see the tears.
Yeah,
They gonna see it
because
all.
this pit that I got out of, it was God. Yeah,
Yes, and so
yeah.
give him the praise. And he's been speaking all day. That's why I'm like, look, my eyelashes gone, Lord. Okay, I'm still getting on here. I'm not trying. Look, we ain't worried about the cuteness right now. I just wanted to, hopefully, to help someone else get through that. It's hope.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such vital for us to have a relationship with the Lord, and not just with him, but with someone else
That's
that
right.
can walk you through, hold your hand, because these trials that you will face, you don't want to face them alone. And that's why it's so vital for us to do that, to have some real people. I'm not talking about the gossipers, the ones that want to know your business so they can go back and talk. I'm talking about someone who's got a genuine heart. That's why you have to have a divine connection to certain people. And mine I have associates, but when it comes to my personal life and the trials and errors that I'm facing and my mistakes, only a handful will know that, because I'm drying my face before anybody see me, but behind closed door, I'll be, oh God, let me call my sister to pray for me because I'm acting out, or Lord, I don't understand, or I'm going through a trial. Only I know I need that prayer of those warriors that's gonna guard their friend and say, sis, we got you. And they don't have to do but speak a word to me to ignite that. Ignite that's what's in me. And I'm like, Lord, I'm ready. I'm ready. And so I had to learn that, everybody in the church or everybody outside the church is not your friend. Because when I got saved, I first think, oh, I'm so ready to get with all the church people. Yeah, they church people, but they have to have the spirit of God, of love. And everybody is not his that's claiming to be of God. And if you don't have his spirit, you're not his.
Yeah. You've already brought out several poignant points. For example, when you talked about having a circle, um, and your circle should be limited, but Jesus also taught community. The fact that he had 12 disciples, he didn't need them, but he always was showing us the example that we can't live life alone, that we have to have a community of believers, and all of them would be at different maturity rates, because you could tell through the disciples. John, really loved them. Peter,
Yes.
yeah, Judas, the betrayer. You know,
Yes.
all of those elements were needed. Back to God allowing, I feel God on this. Back to God allowing, Judas was needed. Judas had a role. John had a role. Peter had a role. Come on now.
Let the church say amen.
Luke had a role. Everybody had a role and a reason and a purpose to be connected with him.
Yes.
And, we always want to just trash Judas, but Judas was necessary.
Yes.
Peter was necessary. and the difference of betrayal. Um, Peter betrayed Christ, right?
Yes.
But it's the heart. He was repentant.
That's it.
Where Judas tried to hide and try to still shuck and jive to the end. So yeah,
Wow.
okay.
You on it. You on it. And that's how and that's why it's so vital. We try to get rid of our enemies, but they're necessary. They're necessary because we wouldn't be in the way we are in position to pray because they push me. You hear me? Y'all keep me. They keep me on my knees. Some of them might be watching now. Thank you. Push me to that place in my relationship with God. Because think about it. If we didn't need our enemies to fight us, to reject us, to lie on us, to tear down our character, where would we be today? We would be as pushing as hard because we'll be so comfortable.
Yes.
And so the Lord was showing me it's necessary. See, everybody's calling is so different. Some of us are, called to do some mighty things. And so it's going to cost us. That's why I didn't even pay attention to what your thing saying. He said the oil. I said, because you always tell me the oil going to cost you. And I looked at that and he said, it's a story behind her thing. And I'm like, Then he had me to go back and to read your title, The Force of Healing.
And do you know we pray about titles? We don't just throw titles on. And I hadn't even, please let the audience know, I hadn't even really talked to you, didn't fully know your story. And it was after, I believe, the title was attached. That is when I got your YouTube video. I still didn't know this story that you're telling tonight. I still didn't know that.
I'm just like, I shouted and cried because he knew about, I had to force to heal you. I had to force you to be healed. I couldn't lay you in that place too long because that means you're going to abort your destiny, your purpose. So I had to draw some things up. I had to call some situations over here to push you. So he had to force me to heal because I couldn't be in that place of depression. I have experienced being left. I have been experienced being beaten. I have experienced being talked about, persecuted because of my relationship with him. But he said, I can't leave you there. You can't stay in that place of depression. We can't, some of us, he will not babysit. I'm one of them. He's not going to babysit me. Jada, I need you to get out your flesh and out your emotions so I can deal with you by the Spirit because I am a spirit. And so I have to go to him, Daddy, I'm there lying on me. He said, no, you worried about the wrong thing. It's a distraction for what is really going on. See, that was just to distract you, but the enemy trying to come in another way. I need you to hear me by the Spirit. And so I had to suck it up. And so, and then, let me thank you, Holy Spirit. Decisions that we make without consulting God will get us in trouble. And I've been there recently. But he had to come and rescue me. Jada, now I got to go do all this. Lesson learned. Because I was being talked about, because I'm a minister. I was being talked about. Now, these are the same people say they love God. But when they got in my circle, got me like they want to, I can't believe God called you and got your fan club. You got all these people. But they didn't realize some of these people that come to me, we be praying. It ain't about, I don't need half of name. We just be praying. Some of the people, they won't even know that I'm talking to them because it's secret. Some things ain't not to be published on Facebook. I minister to so many people here on the coast. You'll walk past me with them and won't even know they talk to me. Because when I say we do some confidentiality type talk, that's what we do. See, I have to answer to him. I have to sleep at night. And so everything is confidential when it comes to me. And the Lord uses me. I'm dealing with the same people that went through some of the cycles. I understand about woman of God, about the husband beating. But, mental abuse is just as worse than somebody putting their hands on you.
That's right.
That is something else. I had to recently Ooh, God. I said, I did not know how manipulative the enemy will be. He'll use someone when they don't even realize they're being used.
Right.
And I'm like, how are you not being sensitive to the Holy Spirit if you say you're reading his word? You telling me you love God and you're not being convicted about what you're doing? No, ma'am. No, sir. It's another spirit, but it's not the Holy Ghost. Your relationship is not what you think, and that's so vital. We have to know the characteristic of Christ. We got to know his ways, what he accepts, and what he don't. And like I tell people, we got to get that relationship with him like we want to do with that husband, that wife, that child. I want to know about you. Mm-hmm. Who are you that saved me, that it wasn't even worthy to be saved? Who are you that kept me when I'm supposed to be in hell? Who are you that love me in spite of my faults? Who are you? I want to get to know you. And I'm like that. Sometimes I say, Daddy, I don't know where you at. And that's just how I be, because I be wanting to get in his presence. Amen. And so I can tell people, you better get a relationship with him. You got to know everything. He wants us to be like dumb sheep. Yeah. I don't want to know nothing, but however you want me to do, I want to follow you.
My husband preached a message one time, and he said, I just want to be dumb. And the whole church just kind of got silent. And he talked about the sheep, how the sheep just go willingly and mindlessly most of the time. And it is important. And to me, that was speaking to laying down my plans to pick up your plans, God. To wherever you want to take me to, that's where I want to go. Yeah, I wanted to go this direction, but I believe I want to go with my Father. I want to lay down my emotions. I want to lay down the situations I thought that I should be privy to. Because sometimes we feel entitled. We'll say, well, he said that I can have this. He said that I can have this. Sure. But, one time I had a discussion. If you really got the $10 million, what is your plan with the $10 million? To go shop? Or is it to reach somebody? To build a shelter? We're different. We're the kingdom.
Hey.
And sister, I've been waiting because I've been listening to God, and I didn't want to say this publicly, but I believe he's allowed me to release this to you. And I didn't want to get rude, but I got on my phone because I kept hearing momentum. There's a new momentum that's on your behalf, on your life. And when I went to momentum, it's physics. It's the quantity of motion of a moving body measured as a product of its mass and velocity. Let me go. And I said, God, do you want me to do this now or when she gets off?
Have your way, God.
And I normally don't give prophetic words on the oil, or if he tells us something, we wait to afterwards. But he had to publicly declare that, because there's a force, there's a momentum, there's a push. And you just talked about the push, and when you did your hands like that, I heard momentum. A new momentum is on her life. A new season is on her life. Not that you've been stagnated, not that you haven't had any movement, but God said there's a new push. There's a new force. There's a velocity behind you. Once you start with momentum, it just builds, builds, builds. There's an equation of momentum. And that's what I heard God say. And that's the part I feel to public release. And God wanted to publicly release that, not for show, but there's something there is something that God wanted to place, to have a recording of, a documentary of. And I hear the enemies that you saw in the past, you won't see them anymore. Just like the enemies came after the children of Israel, his promised people. There are some promises he's promised to you. And so when the army came in hot pursuit, there's been some enemies in hot pursuit. I'm talking about recently, in hot pursuit after you. And the enemies drown, but you won't see them again. Mark his word, not my word. Mark his word. That is in his scripture.
Yes. I can't wait to share this with you. God, he's something else.
And I don't do that on the oil. I don't, we normally, my husband and I, if we get something, we probably say it. But this time he released me to publicly say
I
that.
cry baby anyway, because I feel the spirit. Let me share. I'm so tickled because the Lord was dealing with me all day about me coming on here. And I went walking to just refresh my mind. And I went to the park in Moss Point, 2nd Street Park. That was my second time walking there. Mm-hmm. And so I was going around the circle the same way. And so when I got to the crossroad to go back the same way, he stopped me and he said, "New direction." I was so choked up. He said, "This is a path." So I went to the left. He said, "This is a path you never walked before." And you're so right. I have. I went through some things last year that took me so out of character. And you just don't know you are speaking on it. And I thought the enemy was after my mind, but the Lord was showing me prior in vision what was going on. I just didn't want to receive it, what I was seeing. Because, when someone tell you they love you and they love the Lord, and then when God's telling you something and they say, "No, God ain't give you that." That kind of, I just like, wait a minute, I know I hear my Father, but then it made me start questioning myself. And that was the mistake that I made because I opened that door. I opened that door for the enemy to get in my mind and made me confused. Well, I'm listening to God, but I'm trying to keep peace on this side. But they say they hear from God, but I'm praying. Is it me, God? God said, you getting the truth from me. And so God had to wake me up. You didn't even realize your thing said the awakening. I allowed so much to get in my mind, and I started losing Jada. I kept losing the woman of God that God called me to be, that warrior, that intercessor, that mother. I was losing myself. And the Lord woke me up, and when I looked at your thing, he said, the awakening. I had to wake you up. He said, I did it just like that. I had to snap my finger and let you know that the mind can be gone at any moment if we do not stay our mind on Christ. I was so focused on the situation. My mind was leaving like this. Woman of God, I'm talking about in months. Some people already know what I was going. They were like, Jada, you're not the same. What's going on? I couldn't pray. I couldn't get a prayer out, and they knew I can pray. I felt hopeless. Here come that spirit of rejection coming back around. Oh, maybe I wasn't called. So the Lord woke me up one day. He showed me in a vision. I got up out the bed. He took me to my back door. It was this big old snake. And I shared it with some of my leaders. And outside, he said, the mouth was open just like this, a big python. But on the outside, it was a head. And I kept looking, like, why is the head there? There's a head here. The Holy Spirit said, put your hand in his mouth. Because they grouped up together to destroy you because they couldn't do it by themselves. Mm. And so as I was pulling my hand in his mouth, I was pulling out snakes. I was breaking their necks, throwing them. He said, I had to show you the one that I killed already, that it was more in him. And so they had to come together, and he had me to break their necks, break their neck, but then realize the enemy was right there in my home. See, people don't understand what they think they see. They don't know what the cost. So they want something you got, what they think that you got. Because I have nothing without Christ. I'm nothing without Christ. You don't know the tears that I shed. You don't know the warfare that I tend to. You don't know what I see. And so I had to go through something so vital. Oh my God. And I laid there in a bed for 7 days and couldn't move. But the Lord said, I need to remind you where I brought you from. I need to bring an awakening to your spirit. And he said, I got to forcefully heal you. And when you had that on me, I'm like, oh, he had to get me up. He said, who told you that you wasn't called and chosen by me? I said, that's that person. Who bewitched you and told you that you wasn't this? Who told you this? I said, that person. One more thing. Who told you that you wasn't this? And I said, that person. He said, but remember when I got you up out of that bed when you had that gun to your head and you were finna blow your brains out. I said, arise, warrior. Like something in me just, boom. I felt, woman of God, it was a shattering in the spirit realm, like something was just falling off me. I had a thing around my mind that I was nothing. I was no good, or you was this. But because I accepted the lies of the enemy, that's all I needed. My mind was leaving. That's why he said, keep your mind on me. I don't care what goes around. Run to me. Run like you can't run. Run. And so when I started waking it up, woman of God, I went on a fast. I stayed on this fast till everything left me. And he asked me this, will you still serve me if everything leaves you? You know us. Oh, yes, God. Oh, whatever you say, God. All hell broke loose. Family, pew, 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 pew. What just happened? I'm like, well, they gone. Everybody gone. Lord, what's going on? I was homeless, woman of God. Some folks here didn't even know it. I was homeless. I didn't have nothing to eat. I laid in that bed. I walked 12 miles to the interstate. By the time I collapsed over off Saraceno Road. Now, I ain't from here. Too shame. I was so ashamed. Ooh, I was ashamed. Woman of God. Somebody that was on my Facebook picked me up. The Lord, and girl, let me go put you on some clothes so you can take you a bath. See, I ain't ashamed because somebody gonna need this. I was homeless with my prophesying, preaching self, well known, author, all this. I'm homeless. How did I get up in this? Well, I chose something that I ain't had no business doing anyway. So we make decisions and put ourselves in situations, and then God gotta come rescue us, like He always do. And so I spoke, girl. I just tell the Lord, thank you. I didn't know what my next meal was gonna be. I didn't have no clothes. I ain't bathed, I ain't eat. But I had folks that was coming, sowing seeds. Woman, you remember you got me in? I was driving a young lady car here. God had told her let me use her car. I was taking her to work to use her car so I can get around. And then the Lord came and blessed me and bought me another house. Now I just lost all my stuff. Mm-hmm. Who does that?
The restorer of all things.
Hey, I just went on my Facebook say sold. They didn't even understand. Y'all don't know. I'm sleeping on a mattress, but I can tell you now. The Lord been opening up doors. Boom, 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 boom. Multiple homes that I just bought rental properties. Boom, 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 boom. God said, I'm going to restore everything. And then I went back and said, well, Lord, I'm just trying to see because I want to make sure I do everything right. So I want to be in the back of my mind that I didn't do everything I needed to do before I made these decisions. I'm in so much peace. I never thought I'd be in peace like that. I found myself again. I'm loving me. Me and God go have our little rendezvous at the beach. I go walk
Amen.
They don't understand that. I have to have my time with him middle of the day. Hey, I'll talk to y'all later. I just feel like I need to.
Of the day. In the cool of the day.
And I'm just thankful because we got to be so authentic in this hour. And there's so many broken women on this coast.
Yes.
It's not just women, it's men. I have woman of God. I have been dealing with so many men. I had to get some other men to start talking to these men. We have so many broken men where we forget about. So many men been raped, molested.
True.
Talked about, hurt. They go through the same thing we do. Women tearing their houses down too. We got women out here sleeping with somebody else's husband. I dealt with that. They just want what you know, they don't know who they are, so they want what you got. So
they're broken. They're broken.
Yeah, and I tell them, you hindering yourself from getting your husband, honey, because you're sleeping with somebody else's. Mm-hmm. You want to fight this man's wife, but what you're doing is getting in trouble with God, because if she's a praying woman, oh, baby, you don't want problems. I be trying to tell them. You don't want them problems when you got a real woman of God on her knees. I ain't talking about the one playing church. I'm talking about the real deal. The real deal go to her daddy. God said his prayers are being hindered. He can come to him all he wants. But until he get himself right and take care of his household the way God said, it ain't gonna work. And I be telling girls, y'all don't want the problem. You think you want it. You don't want that. They don't want a woman of God. I see you doing that. They don't want it. They don't want it. Everything. Woman of God, I experienced this. Everything they tried to do failed. See, God said, you thought I forgot about you, huh? I said, yeah. You let these people take my stuff. You let these people hurt me. He said, they ain't done nothing. They ain't prospering. They gonna keep the only thing they doing is going around in circles. They sleep, they can't even sleep. He said, I didn't forget about you. My word stands firm. Yeah, he lied to you. I didn't lie to you.
That's it.
And so I had to repent and say, Daddy, I'm sorry. Now he be saying, daughter, don't you forget my words. Every time you can't, no, I know who I am. And so that helped me. And I just want to help someone else. I don't care what you go through. Know your truth. Speak your truth. I don't care who don't like you. I don't care what they think of you. And see, the Lord gave me this. There's going to be a covering that I'm going to do. He said, I am her. We go off labels of what people say who we are. You ain't this. Yeah, I might have done this in my life. Yeah, I grabbed that label. I might have was doing that in that life. Yeah, I grabbed that label. I might have had depression. I got the label. God said, through it all, I'm going to take all these labels off you to get to the real you. And that you, when he pulled that out like Superman, it said, I am her, I am him, and that's because the I am is in her.
That's right.
I am is in him. And so your identity is not in the people word, what your mama said, what you call yourself, you all this and that. God said, no. You missed the mark. You gave yourself that. You psyching your mind out, trying to be something that you're not. But when I take all this out and I strip you from all those labels, you who I am created you to be. That woman. Hey, God. Hey, that woman. He said, you are the woman I created. You are not what you thought you are. You know, we want to get so beside ourselves like we're putting labels. God said, you giving yourself a false identity that is not of me. So until we know who we are in Christ, the creator, you're going to always spin your circle. You're going to be having an identity problem all in somebody else's lane. Want to be this woman, trying to copy this ministry. And God said, no.
Be you. Because what you're telling me, and God has shared this with me in times past, what you're telling me, when you compare and when you take on all these other identities that are not of you, what you're telling him, what I created, my ID on you, you're telling me that wasn't enough. You're telling the God of the universe
Mm.
The God of everything, the God that gave you breath, that blew into your nostrils, the
Mm.
God that has all this creativity and all this greatness in you. Because
Mm-hmm.
he said your name, he said your name will be great.
Right.
He said that he blew into my nostrils. So this breath, and then, girl, I'm this. I've been so bold. I say I'm creative because my daddy is creative. It's in my
Mm-hmm.
DNA. He created everything. I may not
Oh,
can decorate a house. I have a dear friend, Nadine Wilson. She can decorate out of anything. I may
mm-hmm.
can't do it like that, but there's some creative power that he's placed in me.
Yes.
It may not be that I can decorate a home, but I do curriculum development. That may be part of my gift or my consulting or my business. But it's something he put down in the inside of you. He did not leave you empty-handed. He gave us all gifts. So yeah,
Yes.
that's
Amen. That is so. Whew, that is so good because he gave me. I'm going to be doing a conference. I'm going to plan it for October, and he said you need to do something called "Dry Bones Arise"
mm-hmm,
because we're so in bondage
mm-hmm,
mentally, spiritually, emotionally.
mm-hmm.
And he said, just he told Ezekiel to speak to the dry bones. He didn't do it. He said, I'm not gonna do it. I'm telling you to speak because I've given you the power. I've given you the authority to rule and reign over every, not some, principality above and beneath. So we got the authority, but we choose not to use it. Maybe intimidation from others that speak so eloquent.
Yes, yes.
The motivated speaker that listening to somebody else's sermon and want to preach it.
Mm-hmm,
No Holy Ghost, no power. It just sounds good.
mm-hmm.
Now you intimidated by what they look like, but God said, remove all that, and you see dry bones. Hey, God. And he showed me a vision where people sitting in the church, you just see skeletons with church church hats on. You see people on the mic, just a skeleton with clothes on. No power. That's why the people are not growing because they choose to be around places where they're comfortable, where the teaching is not challenging them in no form or fashion. And they say they're having a good time. You got goosebumps. That does not say that's the Holy Ghost.
That's an emotion.
And anytime that you can go to church every Sunday and don't change, something's wrong with you. You can't blame the pastor because you're supposed to be starting your ministry in your.
That's right. Relationship. It
That starts you at your home on your personal time. And what you get from the pastor just extra.
mm-hmm.
Because if y'all all on one accord, y'all should be able to have something that the Lord, it should come together. Something he said that you already prayed for,
Mm-hmm.
all that. So I tell people, I just listen to them. I say, I'm not in agreement with that.
Mm-hmm.
What is your prayer life like? Do you just go to church, wait on the pastor to preach to you? That's all you get? Well, you ain't Holy Ghost filled. I'm so sorry. Because the Holy Ghost will draw and pull when he wants that relationship with you. You're going to feel dry. Oh, God, I need to be refreshed.
And I hear something that you're saying in that, and I've learned not to just be so anxious because something sounds good or we see
Mm-hmm.
these little memes on Facebook. And interesting, there was a meme that was going on and on and on Facebook. If you're lying, cussing, and all of that, but you're fasting, eat, sis. Well, that's funny, but he did say this kind come out by fasting and prayer. So if you want that deliverance from that, you best be fasting. That's what
That's it.
you best do because this kind come out. If you got a lying demon, if you got a spirit that's lying, if you got a cursing spirit, if you got a manipulative spirit, and he gives you the grace to identify it, you better seek him. You better.
Yeah.
So we have this cute church where we sign up on all this stuff on Facebook, but sometimes you need to step back and say, is that in alignment with the word? Is
Come on.
that in alignment? And it'll have these thousands and thousands of likes, and you're like, it may have been funny because it was, but stop and say, hey, but you do need to seek God. Or if something just sounds goosebumpy, and I get so tickled. I talked to my husband about this. Everybody was jumping over chairs and saying 2020, God is going to show us 2020 vision. And then you see the same people saying, oh, I don't want 2020 no more. But because it wasn't the car, because it wasn't the job, the money, he still gave us 2020 vision when the whole world is walking over George Floyd. When the pandemic came through, do you not think that's 2020 vision?
Right.
But because it didn't come in the fashion of a car, some clothes, all these identity issues we have, now it's not 2020 vision. Oh, it's still 2020 vision, baby, because he's unscaled some things.
Right.
In NASCAR, who has been, who they may not be as traditionally welcoming to people of color, the things that they're doing. Okay, now be careful what we sign off on. Be careful of what we're missing. Don't miss God even in this, because and I know people hear me say this on the all the time. Every time in the midst of chaos, it's an opportunity for God to flex his muscles.
Yes. Yes. He's been blessed, girl. I have been more blessed through this pandemic than I have been. I have people, I said, Lord, you say you're going to take care of your children. He's been doing it. I haven't had a lack. And I ain't been working. Girl, I got a new car, I'm finna get a new house, bought some property. I've been still sowing seeds to people because I believe in sowing. So he told me, sow your way up out of everything. And so I've been sowing, oh God, I need to bless such and such. Oh God, I need to bless her. And as I'm blessing, it's coming. It's just been coming. And so everybody gets so caught up. If you're listening to the Spirit, God say, follow me, not the distraction. That's why we better know who he is, because a lot of them don't know. They never had the experience with the Lord. Don't know what he feels like when he walks in on the scene. Some of the disciples didn't even know him. Then they walk closely with him.
That he was the one stepping on their stormy waters and pulling them up. Yeah.
So I tell him, I say, hey, you better know him. And I told one lady, we were sitting in church, I said, oh, he's here. Hey, Daddy. She was looking at me like I was crazy. Did you just say you know you and him like this? And you didn't even recognize, girl, you didn't even recognize his spirit.
But the fact that we come to church, we should be expecting his presence.
Right.
Not only is he within us, but you would hope that it is drenched, it is oily. You would hope. Yes.
Yes, and I tell a lot of them, y'all going to church, but what's in you? You just walking in the building. You should be carrying the glory with you, saturating the place for the unbelievers. But they're not doing that. So they so upset about not going to church. I say, let me explain something to you guys. This is a time for you to know God even more. This is a time for you to get your stuff together. So God needs you to fix me. This is more time that we can't make no excuses that we don't have time with God. We all at home. Mm-hmm. So after this pandemic over, you're going to know who really walking with him, because you should be different. Some should be more empowered. You should be, girl, they should be walking on water. The relationship we should be having with him at this moment. Because I ain't talked to folks for 2-3 months. I was so just loving on him, falling all out on the floor, shouting through the house. Lord, I need you to strip this and fix me. Oh, I didn't know that. He was showing me some things that I didn't want to please her. Oh, really? Well, you were too busy. You didn't recognize it. So since you got some time, I need to show you that. I need you to remove that.
The grace
And
that
so
he
I was just been enjoying that stripping and the
so
love.
I have a couple of questions because we have been, and funny how time
Oh, yes.
flies when you're having fun. So
Yes.
we want to share all of your handles. We know that you have some production coming up. We
Mm-hmm.
know you're author. We know that you have so many things in store. So give us your handles. Give us how to reach you. Give us how, if someone wants you to come minister in their church, if someone wants you to come speak to women who are surviving domestic violence or drug rehabilitation, or because a lot of times when I go into drug, people say, I thought you was domestic violence. Do you know sometimes you don't know the root of where
Mm-hmm.
things come from? A lot
Right.
of people were molested. Um, you just said, in essence, and I don't want to offend, but it is true. If you're if you were married away at an early age, um, that's a form of sex trafficking. It is.
Mm-hmm.
That's sexual abuse. That's being that's an exchange for whatever reason, um,
Mm-hmm.
to get you out of the house, to bring reduction in plates of money back in the pocket, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be. And women and men are going through that. You mentioned men. I just shared on the last platform that we had with our guest Brian and Nia. They minister to women and men marriages, and I shared a story about someone that shared some deep things with us. He was a very faithful man, went through a lot of things in his younger years. And that thing began to manifest later on in life, where he started acting out, having infidelity and all of that kind of stuff. And when the root of
Mm-hmm.
that matter was taken into consideration, he was molested. And I shared how he did tell his mom, and she basically sold him out for a home and a meal, because she said, we're no longer staying in the projects. We are in a nice home.
Mm-hmm.
We have food. So there's a lot of roots that you have to consider. So
Yes.
speak to us about where to find you, what's next, what's where the current book, the new book, all of those details we want to know so we can.
Okay. Well, I do travel. I do a lot of healing retreats. So what they'll do is they'll contact me and say, "Hey, I got so many people at my house, my church. We do a weekend. Sometimes I come in my PJs.
Mhm.
It's free. I don't charge. I do take donation for us to come, for my group to come and come to your house. Wherever you want us to come private, we come. And we do a healing. We go through deliverance. We get to the root. I tell them to get their little small trash cans. They're coming out. And we do a weekend, 3 day. And it will be about you, be about your family. And I'm there the whole time. Um, you can contact me. I have a page on my page called Broken to Heal Women's Center. Everything, it'd be confidential. I just post stuff on there, but my ladies them do see. You can contact me on their email because everything be confidential. I don't broadcast nothing on that page, just
Right.
period. I tell people, I say I don't do that. I say a lot of people do that, showing people they doing deliverance and stuff, and you can be in trouble. We do the paperwork, so you can also contact me at 228-712-0930, 24 hours.
Mhm.
We travel all over. I am I do mentorship counseling with, going through the sexual stuff with your children. We have a mentorship called Pillars and Plants for our young adults that are growing up. We need to get these plants watered so they become the pillars. They can be strong. And so we work with our children that's been maybe just acting out. We get to the root. Also, I I'm planning now to do the Dry Bones Arise. I'm going to do a workshop here on the coast. I'm working on that now. I'm trying to do it in October because I thought about a 2-day, but God said, no, we need 4 days. Teaching them how to do self-deliverance because everybody's not going to be always there for you. You need to know what to do when these certain things arise. And so I'm going to give them free pamphlets, all the resources they need. If I have to come and show you, we set times and appointments. I do house calls. You can just call me, text me, hey, Ms. Green, I need you. We sit up, we meet up secretly. I have a place in Pascagoula, but it's only for when that we exchange. I have my books to be released. I am a film director that I am filming what happened to me. It's called The Awesome Deception. And that talks about the deception in the house of God. Every church is not planted by God. And I was in one of them. And the Lord used me to help some other women here locally. And that's my documentary because we are being so deceived by the outer appearance and not what's behind the spirit. And so also in October, we're doing I am just getting my own network. Got an open door for me, a network.
Yes.
And it's called Broken Pieces.
Yes.
And so I am going to be filming. I am going to be reaching out soon on my Facebook, on the page, looking for people to tell their story. Mm-hmm. Because once you release, that's the help. Mm-hmm. And I want men to come and tell their stories. Hey, I've been abused. It's okay to cry. Who told you couldn't cry? I'm be so excited. I love people and children. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a lot of things going on. Just look at my page. I'm also Jada Green on Facebook. You can just message me. I'll message you back on my assistant will. Like I said, we do house calls. And I'm just so excited because God is doing so much for his people that love him and that really want him. And we're not worried about your race. We're not worried about your background. I don't care where you come from. You're not got to worry about me looking over you as if I'm all that because you're going to catch me in a pair of jeans, t-shirt, and I'm ready to work. And so you won't be seeing me in all that Louis Vuitton. It's a time and place. God wants us to look nice when we go places. I understand, but it's a time and place. You got a homeless person coming into place and you looking like all this. They timid. They don't want to come before you because they feel that you're going to look down. It's wisdom that we must use. And so I'm just excited for what God is doing. I'm going to give away some houses. I'm going to put these people in some houses. I'm working on now. We are looking for volunteers that would love to come out and help us. I'm just so excited for what God is doing. I am a minority woman-owned business that God is in the making. I'm going to be hiring people on the coast, getting these people jobs. Hallelujah. I'm just excited. And once again, they can just contact me on Facebook. And we out there. It's help. If you want help, it's there.
Okay, you've talked about business and being a business consultant and a business owner, entrepreneur. Can you share any businesses that you want to share on here where people can connect?
Well, I do renovation on homes. I have a real estate development business. I also teach. I'm starting teaching in July how to become an investor. And I'm going to help you show you how to invest in your own home. Won't be a lot of money that you won't need. I do weddings. I do decorations. I'm an interior designer. We do pretty much one-stop shop. Anything you need to do, anything with a house, we do. Okay. So I get out there and work. I get dirty. I cut grass. I build frames. And so I do that. And I'm also a private investigator. I come out of law enforcement.
Wow.
I've been doing it for 12 years. Some people know it here and some people don't because, but I've been working. I even work with Goshen, Mississippi. I work with Goshen police officers sometimes. Mobile, Alabama, I've done all. they've been trying to get me back into law enforcement. But do have a private firm. I do process serving, I do surveillance, and I do a lot of things. And that's why I tell people, once you got the discernment of the Lord beside you, and then I got my talent, you don't want it. So I can help you in many ways.
Look at God. Look at God.
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
Talented sister, you have blessed us tremendously. You started off telling us the broken places, and then you worked us up to how God, and that's the blessing I love when people share the hope of God, the promises of God, that He doesn't leave you stuck. Not our Father, He doesn't leave you stuck. Um, Not only did you give us the problem, the hurts, the pain, but you showed us the deliverance, the love,
Mm-hmm.
the grace, the kindness, the victory that you got from our Father.
Oh
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it's just going up.
Yes.
I am also going to be on the Red Carpet Award with Vicky Yowie, and I think in Atlanta. A lot of different platforms that I'm going to be and I'm just thanking God for it.
Yeah.
The wind may blow, but we know He's standing on a strong, mighty Father.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
just excited.
And that to think somebody left this precious person for dead, but she
Yeah,
has so much life, and she's given life, the life of Christ through her to so many people. That is amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as you know, I always blow a kiss, letting you know that the all is overflowing in love. And yes, there's a story behind our title, but at the end of the day, we have to forgive, we have to give
Mm-hmm.
grace, we have to show what God gives to us. You can't do life being bitter. You
That's
can't.
it.
You can do it. You can do it,
Mm-hmm.
but it won't be reflected of the grace and the love and the overflowing love that He allows you to experience in Him. And then
Yeah.
you're able to spread that like ointment to others. So we
Yeah.
thank you for joining us. We love you. And
Thank
you
you
have
for
a
having me.
thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jada. Love it.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
Amen.
Amen.